What's happening, everybody? Jay Shockblast here, and we are sitting on the top of Stark Tower with the amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker. And I'll tell you what, everybody, look who's with him. That's right, the superior Spider-Man, Otto Octavius. So, I don't know if you guys have been following the news at all, but this is one of those rare events where the mainstream news media has actually picked up on a really major event in the world of comics, and that is the announcement of the Amazing Spider-Man #1. Now, this shouldn't come as a big surprise with the Amazing Spider-Man 2 coming out this summer. You had to know that Sony was going to get anxious having their primetime player, Peter Parker, not even alive in the comics. This guy right here has kind of taken over, Dr. Octopus. If you don't know and haven't followed the Superior Spider-Man over the course of the last year, took over the body of Peter Parker and has redubbed himself the Superior Spider-Man, with some fanfare and a lot of people really upset about it. Mark me down as one of the ones that kind of got frustrated by that book. I stopped reading it for a while out of protest, just because I felt like it was really getting stupid. They teased back and forth with Peter possibly retaking control of his body, and then they kind of snuffed him out altogether. I guess now's a good time to say that there are definitely going to be spoilers. So if you haven't followed Spider-Man in the last, 16 months, you might want to avert your attention elsewhere. Although, if you haven't been following him for 16 months, probably not really spoiling anything, and you're probably not going to read it anyway. So, needless to say, the Amazing Spider-Man #700 capped off an insanely long and illustrious run for Peter Parker. He, in effect, somehow, Dr. Octopus became a magician of some sort, and he was able to take his body, or take his, essentially his essence, and transfer it into the body of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And the two basically wrestled for Peter Parker's body, with Octavius eventually winning and dubbing himself the Superior Spider-Man. So obviously, Octavius needs to kind of, live the guise that, he is Peter Parker and try to live his life the way Peter would live it and stuff like that. I'm going to have to use telekinesis here, aren't I? So, that kind of ruined things a little bit. Yeah, I am going to have to use it. Alright, well, I'm not going to switch, so forget it. So, he decided to live his life, not as Octavius, but as Peter Parker, living the guise that he is both Spider-Man and Peter Parker, doing everything kind of the way that Peter did it in his life. You see Aunt May. Now, I hadn't really followed Spider-Man in general in a while, so I had no idea that Aunt May married J. Jonah Jameson's brother. So there's just so much frustration that goes along with it because, Peter Parker is one of the most iconic characters as Spider-Man in all of comics. I mean, he is the Bruce Wayne of Marvel Comics, I would say. More so than any other character in the Marvel Comics lore, Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, is, their go-to guy. He is on the level of Mickey Mouse. He's on the level of, virtually any popular character that there is in the world. So, you can't really go anywhere without people knowing exactly who Spider-Man is, and, to that effect, Peter Parker. So, for him to be dead, I mean, we know in comic books nobody ever stays dead. I mean, let's face it. We knew the second that Octavius took over control, dubbed himself the Superior Spider-Man, okay, Parker's going to be back eventually. I mean, there's just no way he won't. And you know, for everything that's interesting about the book, Superior Spider-Man, it also becomes, just too much for me because, Octavius, has all the memories and everything of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. So it's like he knows stuff that he's obviously, that Peter lived. And, there's just a couple times where I don't know, I guess there's a lot to have to kind of learn, but, recently Flash Thompson showed up as Venom, and it meant nothing to him. Now, granted, both Flash and Peter Otto, kind of acknowledged that, they hadn't seen each other in a while. But, Flash Thompson was Peter's, childhood bully and turned childhood friend. And, for him to kind of just show up out of nowhere and obviously mean nothing, kind of says something about, maybe were they kind of asleep at the wheel? What was the deal there? So, I don't know. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I don't really like a lot of what they've done with Superior Spider-Man. Like, I get the concept. It's just, I feel like the concept got old pretty fast. And I don't know if they envision lasting, 25 issues, or whatever they're going to be at when all is said and done. Because I know issue number 25 comes out next. And, the Amazing Spider-Man #1 launches in February. So there has to be a resolution to this tale coming up soon. And I would imagine it's going to be in issue number 25. So if you've been following recently, like I said, excuse me, I did have to yawn. I do this all in one take, so I apologize if I'm yawning. It's kind of late, but I wanted to get this out there. I don't know if you guys have been following recently, but, like I said, Flash Thompson kind of entered the equation as Venom. So obviously, Octavius is familiar that, Venom is bad, all that good stuff. And, he doesn't realize that it's Flash Thompson now. And, Flash obviously doesn't realize it's Octavius because he trusts him. And needless to say, things happen, when Flash Thompson is hurt. Spider-Man, with the Octavius Spider-Man, all the moral obligations that Peter had are out the window. Octavius is not afraid to kill. He's not afraid to hurt, maim, disfigure. Anything that it takes to get the job done, he does it. And he feels like that's what makes him superior. So, flashback to Flash Thompson entering the fold. Flash has always been Spider-Man's #1 fan. And, he acted like one, when he ran into... when he ran into Spider-Man during kind of like a hold-up. So, and right away, Octavius is like, out for blood and trying to get that symbiote removed from him because he knows what the symbiote can do. Doesn't realize that Flash has complete control over it or any of that. That doesn't matter. So long story short, right now, the symbiote has bonded itself to Octavius. And who knows what's going to happen in 25. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's a double issue. So, we're going to have a lot to kind of work in. And obviously they're going to have to explain why Peter Parker is, flying around the city in the Amazing Spider-Man #1. They've got this interesting dynamic lately of, the Green Goblin fighting Hobgoblin and having his own goblins under him. And they're trying to find out the identity of Peter Parker. It's going to be really kind of a mess at the end. And that's kind of what they're teasing with the new Amazing Spider-Man. Looks like Don Slott's going to stay on for it. And to be fair, he probably deserves it, considering he went through this huge Superior Spider-Man run. And for better or worse, dealt with all the kind of BS from, upset and irate fans. And the crazy thing is, I'm not even really a huge Spider-Man fan. But, you know, it's just, I feel like they really kind of messed with a character that didn't need to be messed with. And I know Marvel is running out of ideas. I mean, they're building new characters is not really their strong suit right now. But, you know, changing up all the established characters is exactly what they've turned to instead. And it's getting a little ridiculous. You know, they changed up, obviously. I've bitched about Nova for, you know, ad nauseum and what they've done with him and Sam Alexander. So, I mean, you know, they did the same thing with Spider-Man. I mean, that just tells you what type of company we're dealing with here. I think that's just arrogant. I don't know. I found myself slightly enjoying the book from time to time, if not just because it is still Otto Octavius, and he finds a way to screw up at the end every time. Drink break here. So it's like, with Peter Parker as Spider-Man, you know, he always found a way to get things done, you know? Like, his personal life was always a mess, but, you know, everything that he needed to do to protect people worked itself out. So with Superior Spider-Man, it's almost like the complete opposite. Like, Octavius has the personal life down, or so it would seem. And it's just like the attention to detail when he's out there as Spider-Man is pretty weak. And, you know, all of a sudden there's like a Spider Island, and, you know, Spider-Man has like, you know, his own troops at his disposal, and he's, you know, makes the NSA look like, you know, they're using an Etch-a-Sketch to, you know, figure out your information. I mean, really, a lot of really bad stuff going on from Otto Octavius. But, you know, he's made improvements to Peter's life, too. You know, he's got a girlfriend, even though she's a quote-unquote little person. And, you know, he started a company for him. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff going on for when he comes back. I don't know what he's going to do or how he's going to kind of cope with it, but, you know, that's really not for me to decide, I guess. They're keeping it interesting. I mean, I guess is the bottom line is, you know, people like me are talking about it, and, you know, for better or worse. I would say it's for worse because I'm not buying the book, and I have really no intention of it. I bought the last one, number 700. I bought that one just for the sake of, you know, having it as like a collector piece, but otherwise, I'm just kind of reading what I can when it comes to the Superior Spider-Man. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen next. You know, how is Peter going to get his body back? What's going to happen to, you know, Dr. Octopus, Otto Octavius? I mean, clearly something is going to have to happen with him where he either goes to another body or something. I just can't imagine them killing him off completely, especially when they haven't even really used him in the new stretch of movies yet. Yeah, I just haven't really enjoyed this book. I really wish I had. I really hate saying that, but it's just the one that frustrates me. And I think it's a lot because of what I'm going through with Nova, where, you know, Marvel in their infinite wisdom decided, hey, let's freshen things up a bit, let's get a new Nova. And, you know, no, let's not freshen things up a bit. You know, the old Nova was doing fine. I mean, I just don't know what exactly they were thinking there. But in any event, you know, we do have Spider-Man coming. The Amazing Spider-Man. Peter Parker is going to be back. So there's not going to be, you know, completely different, you know, Spider-Man, like in every facet of his being. Yeah. I mean, it was inevitable that, you know, Octavius was eventually going to lose control of Parker. I mean, you know, they do have the new movie coming out. They can't just ignore the fact that, you know, one of their big money-making characters is dead, especially when they're trying to establish him as being such a powerhouse and such a badass. I don't know what's going to happen. So right now, the symbiote, last we saw episode or issue 24. That's the last one I read. I don't think 25 is out yet. But in issue 24, he Flash, I guess, doesn't know that Peter Parker equals, Spider-Man. I guess I would have thought he would have, to go to him. Well, I guess he couldn't have been because he went to him. So, either way, I just feel like putting the symbiote back on Spider-Man is a mistake. It's just dumb. They didn't have to do it. I wonder how this is going to impact, Flash Gordon, as he was, Venom, Agent Venom. So he's involved with the Thunderbolts. So you would have to think that he's going to get it back somehow. But right now, Otto Ock is walking around the city with a symbiote costume, which definitely can't be good for him. So yeah, I mean, literally everybody that he can run into, he's run into, and he's, put them down and made them just question any relationship that they had with, the Peter Parker version of Spider-Man. Now, granted, nobody knows it's him except for, like, one cop who's just about to put it all together. But, nobody knows it's him. So it's not really a surprise if, like, everything is status quo for now. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I'm excited to see that, the Superior Spider-Man storyline is kind of coming to an end. My prediction is Octavius is not going to be dead. They've already introduced avatars, for both. There was a girl in the last two issues ago that was like Otto Octavius's ex-girlfriend or something, and she came out of a coma, and she had like this avatar that she would, be instead of Angelina, I think was her name, and Stunner was her avatar. But in any event, they've already introduced a, Dr. Octopus avatar, so I'm almost curious to see if that is what they use to get his mind back in the body. He is struggling with morals, so, I mean, you can tell that there's obviously some effect to him being Spider-Man, but, do we really need another hero? Again, I know Marvel Comics is having a really, really hard time developing new heroes. I get that, but, doing it with Spider-Man, is fine, except for the fact that, you're not doing it with just Spider-Man, you're changing who is Spider-Man. And, I mean, I guess in the Ultimate world, I don't care, but in the regular, everyday comic world, I do care, because, Spider-Man he's the man. He doesn't deserve to be the character that you try to change up. You know what I mean? Or kill off, even better. So, I guess we'll have to see what happens from here. At this point, Superior Spider-Man is Dr. Octopus. Peter Parker is himself right now. Mary Jane is already signed over that she is going to pay 10,000. I don't even know what I was saying there. Mary Jane. I lost my train of thought. So this is the downside of doing these videos live is, I'm actually flipping through the book now, and Mary Jane is, shown here with her club. Not Mary Jane. Aunt May is invested in Peter Octavius' version of Peter Parker's new startup company. Yeah, man, I don't know. I just feel like There's going to be a lot of really crazy stuff going on. So, like, I started to say this earlier, but, you know, I got kind of sidetracked. You know, with Peter Parker, he always seemed to get everything right as Spider-Man, but everything wrong in his personal life. And with Otto as Peter Parker, it's like the complete opposite. He gets everything right for the most part in his personal life. You know, he got Peter a doctorate. He started up his own company, all this stuff. And, you know, now, like, as Spider-Man, he kind of keeps screwing up. You know, he's supposed to have all Peter's memories, but, you know, he knocks out the Black Cat. You know, he forgets all about Flash Thompson. I don't know if he knew that Flash Thompson was Venom, if Peter ever knew that, but, you know, when Flash identifies himself as, you know, Flash Thompson, he's like, who cares? And Peter would have never said that. I don't know. There's a lot of things going on, so we'll see what happens. I mean, February, sometime this month, The Amazing Spider-Man #1 comes out. And Peter's going to have a lot to kind of cope with. He's going to have to kind of get used to all the changes. Obviously, I have a feeling that he's just going to come out and he's not going to come out and say, well, you know, Otto Octavius has, you know, had control of my body. First of all, none of his people would believe him. And second of all, that would require him to, you know, admit that he was, you know, is Spider-Man. To the couple of people that still don't know. I mean, obviously Mary Jane knows, but, you know, we'll see what happens. I'm definitely looking forward to it, I guess, but not in the kind of way that you think as being excited as a fan. I'm more looking forward to it in kind of a car crash sort of way. Just like, you know, you rubberneck, you kind of can't look away from the car crash. I just think it's going to be awkward, and I'm not really too sure I'm going to like it. I don't know that they've said issue 25 is the last issue. We'll see. I know it's a double issue. Sorry. And, we will, I guess just have to wait.
That guy doesn't look too good.
I guess the thing I want to end with is that it's great that the real Spider-Man is finally back, that it's going to be Peter Parker. I am definitely ready for it. We all knew it was inevitable. Nobody in the comic world stays dead forever. I guess unless your name is Rich Rider. Everybody is going to come back at some point, pretty much. And, you know, now it's Peter Parker's turn. And I guess when you kind of look back at it retrospectively, you know, was it worth it? I mean, was it really worth wasting that year on Otto as Spider-Man, as Peter Parker? I don't know. I really feel like it alienated the fans more than anything. And this is kind of what I'm talking about, you know, when I bring up Sam Alexander as Nova. You know, I just feel like they keep altering all these characters, like, so they could fit a certain stereotype or profile or target audience, demographic, stuff like that. I mean, you know, Rich Rider was a warrior. I mean, he was, like, just a powerful character. So it's frustrating when you see Sam Alexander, you know, fumbling around. And it's equally frustrating if you're a Spider-Man fan to have Otto kind of screwing everything up in a way for Peter Parker. You know, you can tell that there's like that kind of cool aspect of it where, you know, Otto has never been a hero before. So you can see him kind of like rationalizing everything that he does. You know, not just reacting for the sake of reacting. You know, he kind of asks himself, WWPPD, you know, what would Peter Parker do? And then he kind of goes with it. His family doesn't suspect, so, but, you know, everything's going to come to a head here, obviously, with The Amazing Spider-Man #1 coming out. And I guess I'm kind of looking forward to it, so they can bury this saga. this part of Spider-Man's life. I guess, what do you guys think? I mean, I've rambled a lot, and I really want to know what you guys think about this, because I know there's a lot of Spider-Man fans out there, and this is really a big storyline for the last year. Um, I'm glad it's going to be over. I really am. Uh, I don't know if I got anxiety over it, but I definitely get anxious when characters that are super popular just go, you know, out of the way, I guess. And you kind of have to try to bring them back. Uh, I just, with Nova, I wouldn't say he was ever really super popular, but I just didn't see the point of rebooting him that way. I mean, if you wanted to spiffen up his uniform and everything, that's fine, but I don't know. So we'll see what happens here. I know I've said that a bunch of times, but for real this time, I hope you guys have enjoyed looking at the back of Spider-Man, Superior Spider-Man. So Peter Parker's going to be back, and will we all be better for it? That is the question. And how is he going to recover learning all this new stuff, all while keeping his secret identity secret, especially from Aunt May? We'll see. I'm sure that's going to be the whole point of the book for a while, but, I really feel like anybody that knows he's Spider-Man, he really should just come out and say it and just hide from the ones that don't know he's Spider-Man, but what do I know? So, I'm just a reader, like all of you, but in any event, I guess you guys have seen, Spider-Man kind of stand around doing nothing but poses long enough. I hope everybody enjoyed my mindless banter about The Amazing Spider-Man, the new book coming out in April. It should be a pretty good one. We'll see, though. I mean, I'm really, really intrigued at this point to see how it ends for Otto Octavius and how it re-begins for Peter Parker. I hate the whole sci-fi aspect of it, reversing people's, bodies and stuff like that. I generally don't see, I don't know. It's late, and I probably shouldn't be making this video right now. I should probably sit back and make it at another time. And I know when I'm babbling, so I'm babbling, and it's time to end it. But I'm putting the ball back in your court, guys. I really want to know what you think. If you are an advocate of Superior Spider-Man, let me know what you think. I'm just done with it. I'm ready to move on. I cannot wait for February so that we can get back to Peter Parker Spider-Man. Even if it does have to deal with the aftermath of Otto Octavius, it should be pretty awesome. So I will officially call it a day at this point. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And this is the Superior Spider-Man little special. We'll see you.